Picture a time of religious oppression, political change, and economic hardship. Welcome to 17th century England, a period that was less about tea and crumpets and more about religious turmoil and political upheaval. This was a time when the Church of England was the only accepted form of worship, and those who dared to think differently, the separatists, faced severe oppression. In this climate of intolerance, a new religious movement was quietly simmering beneath the surface, the rise of Puritanism. But it was not just religious unrest that defined this era. England was also grappling with economic difficulties, with many people struggling to make ends meet. In the face of these trials, one group dared to dream of a different life, a life where they could worship freely without fear of persecution, a life of economic opportunity. These were not just dreamers, though, they were doers. In these turbulent times, a group of brave individuals decided to seek religious freedom in a new land, the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims' journey began not in England but in the Netherlands, a land more tolerant of their religious beliefs. This is a fact often overlooked in the history books. The Pilgrims, feeling ostracized for their religious beliefs in England, sought refuge in the Dutch city of Leiden. Here they found a safe haven to practice their faith, free from the constraints of the English Church. Life in the Netherlands was not without its challenges, though. The Pilgrims struggled with the language barrier and found it hard to adapt to the Dutch way of life. Their jobs were labor-intensive, often in the textile industry, and the long hours left little time for their religious practices. Yet their most significant concern was the influence of Dutch culture on their children. They feared their offspring were losing their English identity, slowly becoming more Dutch than English. This fear of cultural assimilation was a driving force in their decision to leave the Netherlands. The Pilgrims longed for a place where they could practice their faith freely, while also preserving their English heritage. This longing led them to negotiate a voyage to America, a new world vast and filled with possibilities. Negotiating for this voyage was no easy task. The Pilgrims had to secure a charter, which was essentially a legal document that would allow them to establish a colony. The process was fraught with difficulties. They had to convince merchants to finance their journey, promising a return on investment through trade with the native population and the resources they would find in the New World. After much negotiation, they managed to secure a charter from the London Company. This was a significant step, but only the start of their journey. There was still the issue of securing a ship, provisions, and crew for the voyage. The Pilgrims were undeterred by these obstacles. Their faith and determination saw them through. With a charter in hand and a ship called the Mayflower ready to sail, the Pilgrims were set for their voyage to the New World. The Mayflower, a ship designed to carry cargo, not passengers, became home to the Pilgrims for 66 days. The voyage was far from a leisurely cruise across the Atlantic. The Pilgrims were crammed into the ship's 'tween deck, a space less than 5 feet high, with no privacy and little fresh air. The conditions were harsh, the journey was grueling, and the sea was unforgiving. As days turned into weeks, the Pilgrims faced storms that threatened to tear the ship apart. The constant rolling and pitching of the ship caused seasickness among the passengers. The food was scarce and the water was rationed, but the Pilgrims held on to their faith. Their determination was as vast as the ocean they were crossing. After 66 days at sea, land was sighted on November 9, 1620. But it was not the Virginia colony they were aiming for, it was Cape Cod. The Pilgrims, weary and worn, decided to stay. As they anchored off the coast of what is now Massachusetts, they made a crucial decision that would impact the future of the New World. On November 11, 1620, aboard the Mayflower, they signed the Mayflower Compact, a document that established a civil government based on majority rule. This act of self-governance was a significant step towards democracy in the New World. The Pilgrims then began the task of establishing a settlement, which they named Plymouth Colony, after the English port from which they had set sail. The first winter was brutal, with half of the Pilgrims dying from disease and exposure. Despite the harsh winter and loss of life, the Pilgrims persevered, establishing the first permanent European settlement in southern New England. Their story is a testament to the power of faith, determination, and the human spirit to overcome adversity. It's a story that continues to resonate centuries later, reminding us of the foundations upon which this great nation was built. The Pilgrims' first year in America was a test of their resolve. Their initial days in the New World were marked by harsh winter, scarcity of food, and the constant threat of unknown diseases. The frigid temperatures of Massachusetts were unforgiving, and the Pilgrims, unprepared for the severe conditions, struggled to survive. By the end of the first winter, half of the Mayflower's original passengers had succumbed to the harsh realities of their new home. But the Pilgrims weren't alone in this unfamiliar landscape. They shared this territory with the native tribes who had inhabited these lands for centuries. Among these tribes, the Wampanoag people played a critical role in the Pilgrims' survival. The Wampanoag, led by their chief Massasoit, extended an olive branch of peace to the newcomers, marking the beginning of a unique alliance. The most significant figure in this alliance was Squanto, a member of the Patuxet tribe and a former English captive. Squanto, fluent in English, became an interpreter and advisor to the Pilgrims. He taught them how to cultivate local crops like corn, how to fish, and how to navigate the local terrain. Without Squanto's guidance, the Pilgrims' chances of survival would have been greatly diminished. As the Pilgrims adapted to their new surroundings, they slowly began to reap the fruits of their labor. By the time autumn arrived, they had a successful harvest. This abundance of food, coupled with their newfound skills and alliances, brought the Pilgrims a sense of hope and accomplishment. This successful harvest led to a 3-day feast, a celebration of their hard-won victory over the struggles of their first year. This feast, shared with their Wampanoag allies, is now recognized as the first Thanksgiving. A symbol of cooperation and shared prosperity, this event marked the end of a year filled with trials and tribulations. Through hardship and friendship, the Pilgrims survived their first year in the New World. Their story serves as a testament to human resilience and the power of unity in overcoming adversity. The Pilgrims' journey and their establishment of Plymouth Colony left an indelible mark on American history. This wasn't just about a group of people seeking religious freedom, it was about setting the stage for a new world, one that would be shaped by the principles of democracy and collective decision-making. The Pilgrims' influence permeates through American history, and one of the most tangible legacies they left behind is the celebration of Thanksgiving. Today, families all across the United States gather together every fourth Thursday of November to share a meal and express gratitude. This tradition traces its roots back to 1621, when the Pilgrims, after their first successful corn harvest, invited their Native American allies to a 3-day feast. This event is often regarded as the first Thanksgiving, but the Pilgrims' impact goes beyond a beloved holiday. Their political contribution, though often overlooked, is of significant import. The Mayflower Compact, signed by 41 of the male passengers on the Mayflower, was one of the first agreements for self-government to be created and enforced in America. It set the precedent for future democratic practices in the country. The compact was a social contract in which the settlers consented to follow the community's rules and regulations for the sake of order and survival. This was a radical departure from the prevailing European practice of monarchy. It was a step towards participatory governance, where power is derived from the consent of the governed. The Mayflower Compact, in essence, helped lay the foundation for the democratic ideals that America would come to uphold. So as we reflect on the legacy of the Pilgrims, we realize that their journey was about more than just religious freedom. It was about pioneering a new form of governance, about the courage to negotiate the unfamiliar, and about the resilience to endure in the face of adversity. The Pilgrims' voyage to the New World was a journey of faith, courage, and perseverance that continues to resonate today. Their legacy is interwoven with the fabric of American history, a testament to their enduring influence. From their origins in England to their struggles in the New World, the Pilgrims' story is one of resilience and determination. We've followed their path, traced their steps, and delved into the trials they faced. We've seen their beginnings as a persecuted religious group in England, their daring decision to embark on a daunting journey across the Atlantic, and their arrival in an unfamiliar land. We've shared in their struggles and triumphs during that first harsh winter and the establishment of the Plymouth Colony. We've witnessed the significance of their legacy, how they paved the way for future settlers, and their influence on the celebration of Thanksgiving. The Pilgrim's story, though centuries old, holds relevance even today. It's a tale of courage, faith, and perseverance that continues to resonate. reminding us of the lengths people will go to for the freedom to live as they choose. It's a testament to the human spirit's indomitable will, a narrative that underscores the power of belief and the strength found in community. Understanding the Pilgrims' history and their contributions provides us with a richer, more nuanced view of our past. It helps us appreciate the complexities and the struggles that have shaped the world we live in today. It allows us to look back and appreciate the progress we've made, while also reminding us of the lessons we can draw from the past as we continue to forge ahead. History is not just a series of dates and events. It's a vibrant tapestry of stories, woven together by the threads of human experience, and the Pilgrim's story is but one thread in that vast tapestry. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more intriguing historical tales. Until next time, keep exploring the past, for it shapes our present.